Alright, this is a video on how to convert a regular roller zone to an MDR belted zone. I already have one done here, and here is the one I'm going to convert. What you will need is an MDR roller, and I can see I already have the tracking sleeves on those rollers, and an idler roller, that's just another roller I took from that zone, and I have the tracking sleeves too. Basic hand tools, motorized roller bracket, and the belts and lacing pin for the belts. First thing to do is locate your motorized roller. In this case it's going to be on this end of the bed, and drill the holes to mount your motorized roller bracket. On this particular case we have a 30-inch zone, so the center measurement from the first roller to the last roller, like in this bed, is 27 inches center to center. So that would be the 30-inch zone that you would have on a 10-foot bed. 4 30-inch zones on a 10-foot bed. So here's the motorized roller bracket. Line up the hex hole, mark the holes, and then drill the holes. You have these drilled already. So there's where we're going to bolt on the motorized roller bracket. Easiest thing to do first is to feed the motorized roller and essentially click the motorized roller into location before mounting the motorized roller bracket. So we have the motorized roller in position. So we can click in the other end. Now we will add the motorized roller bracket. The key to feeding the motorized roller bracket onto the end of the cable is to kind of twist the cable and flatten the cable like you see here. And that'll help it feed onto the motorized roller bracket. So feed it through like that, and then slip the motorized roller bracket essentially down the cable right onto the conveyor. Slip it into position. I'm going to slide the bolts in from the back and put the nylock nuts on the front here. Alright, little assembly tip. The powdered metal bracket here will essentially get bound up on the roller, so you want to keep that, the right bolt, the right nut loose, so that it kind of slops around in here. And as you essentially pull the roller towards yourself here, I'm going to pull this motor's roller kind of into the bracket, make sure it's flush, make sure it's resting tight up against the flanger, see it? Make sure it's tight there, and then once it's held in tight there, then you can finally tighten up this nut. This one can already be snugged, but make sure you're holding the roller towards you as you tighten up the right nut on there, and then essentially it'll be slightly exposed on the bracket, just 1/16 of an inch. But essentially just make sure that when you tighten this, you don't push the bracket, because the axle could essentially push away from you as you tighten this if you don't have it in control and you're not holding the roller towards you when you do it. So that's one assembly tip for you. And that's what it should look like when it's all tightened up. See, it's slightly exposed. That chamfer is pretty much flush with the back wall of that bracket. Alright, hard part is done. Now the easy part. Now we just wrap the belt around, and what I'm doing is I'm leaving the last roller out, leaving that idler roller out of the system for now, and I'm going to wrap both belts and run the lacing pin. That roller we'll put in dead last, and it just clicks into position. We'll show you that. I'll add both of these belts and then we'll come back. Alright, so I got the belts laced, got that last, essentially the charge roller. So the flow is this way on the page. Last roller's in, and all I have to do is take the spatula and slip in behind that axle. Might be a little difficult here with one hand with the camera, but let's give it a shot here. It's a little more difficult than I thought. Alright, let me get it in position here and then I'll show you. Alright, so I got the spatula in position, it's right at the thing. All I have to do is give it a slight push, it doesn't take much at all. Pull the spatula out, the roller snaps into position, and it's ready to go. And there it is, pull the spatula out, snapped right into position, didn't require any force or any tools at all, just a little slight push, and there it is, it's all set. Last thing I want to go over is how to install the tracking sleeves on a roller. This is the tracking sleeve, it's an inch wide, I believe it's a 16th thick. And I'll just show you kind of the sequence on how that goes on. You use a screwdriver to install it on any roller. It takes a little bit of finesse to do it, but once you figure it out, it's pretty simple. Alright, so step one is just get it started on the roller like that. Just press it on by your fingers, take your hand and it starts on there. Next thing I'm going to do is slide the screwdriver between the tracking sleeve and the roller, and then work it on with the screwdriver. Alright, so there's a screwdriver in there. So essentially if you spin the roller and hang on to the screwdriver and just angle the screwdriver slightly, the tracking sleeve slowly walks its way down the roller, right over the grooves, all the way down to whatever location you need. So usually I put a little Sharpie mark on there to locate where the tracking sleeve is going to go. It kind of speeds the assembly process, and you know when to stop spinning. So here we go. Alright, so here we go. So I'm just spinning the roller, angling the screwdriver, and it just slides the tracking sleeve, walks it on down to the roller.